Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of The Snake Pit. I'm your host, Son of Bat, and I noticed I haven't done a video game review in a while. I think the last one I did was JFK Reloaded, and it got me thinking, like, I want to do another game review, but then I came to a wall, kind of. I was like, what game do I pick? There's so many great ones on so many different systems that I'd love to cover. And then I had to whittle it down to games I had played recently, games I had beaten. I had to exclude games I hadn't finished yet, games I hadn't even picked up yet, because I wanted to avoid staying up all night and blasting through a game just to get a half-ass review out while I'm half awake. But after searching, I finally came across one that I think you guys are going to enjoy. It's called Night at the Gates of Hell. This is a 2022 survival zombie horror game. Technically a Puppet Combo game, but released under their subsidiary Torture Star Video. And if you don't know about Puppet Combo or Torture Star, they make some of the hands down greatest horror games, like some of the greatest indie horror games to hit Steam. And I think some of their games are on Nintendo Switch and Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So definitely check out their stuff. If you're into PS1 style graphics, if you're into 80s horror style games, this is your shit right here. Because, growing up, I always wanted Friday the 13th games, Nightmare on Elm Street games, Texas Chainsaw Massacre games. Anything based off what I was watching, I wanted games of, but they weren't really doing it. They've been starting to do it now. I mean, Friday the 13th was a pretty big game, but I believe they've taken it offline. There's a Chainsaw Massacre game now, but those are mostly like team-based arena kill games, from what I've seen at least. Not really my thing. I'm more of a single-player story kind of person. I like multiplayer here and there, but I'm really about a good story, and Puppet Combo seems to deliver. They have so many different types of games with various play styles and various horror scenarios. You got stuff like Babysitter Bloodbath, Power Drill Massacre, The Night Ripper, Spiders, Feed Me Billy, Nun Massacre, The Glass Staircase, Samhain, Murder House, Christmas Massacre, and Stay Out of the House. And what I mean by various play styles is, for Power Drill Massacre or Babysitter Bloodbath, you're kind of just evading the killer. In Christmas Massacre, it's kind of like a stealth murder simulator where you got to kill everybody before a witness sees you or gets out of the house. Spiders is an FPS. Feed Me Billy is a demonic murder feeding simulator. The Night Watch, the beginning of Stay Out of the House, is pretty much a convenience store clerk sim, and Samhain's a walking simulator. But all these games are very creepy, they're very fun, they're very trippy. They take a lot of inspiration from classic horror films, which is always a plus for me. I mean, so much so that Babysitter Bloodbath got a copyright infringement for Halloween. But, it's all good because these games, they tell their own story. While being familiar, they do tell their own stories, and it's just so fun. And, growing up, I've always wanted games based off the movies I watched, and to see it finally happen is just fucking amazing. But, this game isn't technically Puppet Combo. This is their subsidiary, Torture Star, who they have also made some very, very good games like Rewind or Die, Deadly Night, Bloodwash, which is actually going to come up later in this Night at the Gates of Hell review, Search Party, The Horror of Salazar House. And they actually have a game coming out soon that I'm really excited for called Sniper Killer, which kind of looks like a Dirty Harry Zodiac type thing where you play as the cop and the killer. And I've seen trailers. I have abstained from playing the demo because I just want to go in blind and just have a fresh take on this game, but it looks cool. I mean, fucking awesome. But today we're talking about Night at the Gates of Hell. This video is, I swear, I'm not being paid by Puppet Combo or Torture Star. They make some really cool shit that I highly recommend. And, before I get into Night at the Gates of Hell, some of the scariest games I've ever played. I think one of the first ones I played was Murder House. And I showed my friend, the first time I played it, I was really fucking baked and I had AirPods in and I wasn't expecting the prologue to go the way that it did, and it freaked me the fuck out, which is cool because I've watched countless horror movies and dark web videos, all the crazy shit, and nothing really gets to me. But I find video games kind of give you that adrenaline rush that the movies should be giving you, because in a game it's you and your choices can result in your death and shit. especially in the survival horror games like these ones, Night of the Gates of Hell included, because this is a survival game after all. But yeah, even my friends that I've showed these games to, they have the same kind of reaction. Like they're just like, holy shit, and it's just a fucking adrenaline rush. And yeah, just good shit. You don't get that in modern movies, and these games are just fucking nailing it. So good on you guys for making some actually scary shit. But Night at the Gates of Hell, like I said, it's a survival horror game, kind of reminiscent of original Resident Evil games, but it's in a first-person mode, and which is really cool because it's kind of like a PS1 version of Resident Evil 7 in a Lucio Fulci Bruno Mattei skin. A lot of references, like with all their other games. Like this one, it pretty much starts with a priest hanging himself and opening a gate to hell, like City of the Living Dead. One of the main enemies, I think the priest who hangs himself, I can't remember, I haven't played it in a couple months. His name was Father Friedstein. And I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, damn, that sounds really close to Freudstein. And, if you know your Fulci movies, Freudstein was the zombie abomination in the basement at House by the Cemetery. Another great fucking movie. So this game's chocked to the brim with like Italo, gory, zombie galore. There's so many zombie variants, man. Like there's like I think 80 different ones. Like there's fucking like ballerina zombies, there's like fucking normal shambly zombies, there's cultist zombies, there's fucking like long neck fucking running ones, kind of like that, those weird entities from Smile. There's fucking zombies that are rotted and like have maggots coming out of them, or they're just green like rotted textures that don't look like people anymore, just humanoid shapes. There's ones that are just spinal cords with a brain attached, and you gotta sink a headshot in this game to get kills, or else you ain't killing shit. You'll maybe knock them back, but that's what I love about this game. You gotta sink a headshot to kill a zombie, because we all know that's what it fucking does to kill him. Now, there are some games, like I believe Left 4 Dead, you can get away with shooting them in the torso and they'll die, and Resident Evil, the later ones at least, you can do this, like in Resident Evil 5 and shit. But I find doing the headshot makes it more like difficult, and therefore makes it a little bit more tense and scary when you're in a tight like area where you gotta fucking blast your way through, and you're using a revolver, so it's like a low slow reload time, and it's just so many factors, like, and you gotta manage your inventory. And another bonus too is you need knives. There's kitchen knives lying around, and if you don't have these knives and a zombie grabs you, you are fucked, because it's a one-hit kill. Definitely adds to the challenge of the game, but you gotta love it. If you got these knives and a zombie grabs you, you're pretty much just gonna stick it in its head and you're good to go. Interesting variants also create more difficult scenarios to kill zombies. Like if I remember correctly, there's zombies where their heads are bent back, like their neck's broken and their head's against their back, so you gotta shoot them through the chest to get their head. Like there's ones, like I said, the brain on the spinal cord, kind of like the Day of the Dead fucking zombie on the slab. You gotta shoot the brain, or else it's gonna keep coming at you. And I thought that was really cool. Another bonus was they're not runners, they're shambling zombies, which, I mean, running zombies have their place. Like movies like Dawn of the Dead from 2004, and I know this might start a debate. I personally think of it more of an infection movie, but I put it with my zombie stuff. 28 Days Later is absolutely terrifying. Like that is one of the scariest infection zombie movies ever, and those fuckers are runners. But when it comes to zombie, like real zombie stuff, if you're doing it like this 80s, 70s style, you got to go with the walkers. And even if you get ambushed by a horde of shambling zombies, it is fucking scary, because they can overpower you and they will fuck you up. There's plot point elements reminiscent to earlier zombie movies, like, there's a military facility on an island, which I believe is the plot of Zombie 3, like a fucking military facility, and also Day of the Dead. There's a part where you are on a boat and a zombie shark attacks, which reminiscent to Lucio Fulci's Zombie. Also, there's this whole narrative about getting to an island that is supposedly safe, which is also something that gets brought up, like it's a throwaway line in Dawn of the Dead. It's a main plot point of Zombie 2 for you purists out there. But yeah, it was a simple story, but if it's a very it didn't need to be overcomplicated. I think it hit the right beats, and if you're a fan of these movies, you're gonna like know exactly what's going on, and you're just gonna be there and enjoy the ride and love the references. And speaking of references, this isn't just limited to movies in the real world. There's also references to other games by Torture Star Video, specifically Bloodwash. So there's a character in this game named Stan, who's one of the neighbors to the protagonist in Bloodwash, who's a real cool fucking dude, and he's a badass in this game too. I believe the creator of this game said that Night at the Gates of Hell takes place after Bloodwash, so it's confirmed that this is an expanded universe. And I believe Sniper Killer takes place before both of those games, and Booty Creek Freak takes place after Sniper Killer. And yeah, well, all these games take place in the same universe. Let's just say that. This game's got some good, unique level design. I believe there's 7 levels, including the prologue, which again is another reference to Bloodwash, because in the beginning you play as this guy named, I believe his name is Liam, and he's the boyfriend that's referenced in Bloodwash from the main character. He goes with his girlfriend Razor to this creepy cemetery, and they're about to fuck, and she's like, nah, you gotta get a rubber. He goes to get a rubber. He comes back, she gets ripped apart. So I don't really count the prologue because you don't really get to like fight or really anything from what I remember. It's kind of just an intro. So there's like 6 levels, and they all, ratchet up in difficulty. You get various different zombies, which helps keep the game fresh. Toward the end, you get these cultist zombies, that can wield shotguns and stuff. That's the other gun I forgot to mention too. You get a shotgun, but I personally was using the revolver the whole game. And once you beat the game, I mean, you might think 6 levels, like, oh, that's not a lot. But, it actually is like, I think it took me about 3 or 4 hours to get through the game. So it's not like a short game. It's not a long one, but it's not super short. It's like the perfect length of like a little horror story, And once you beat the game, you actually unlock 2 different games. You unlock the Booty Creek Cheek Freak and Evil in the House of Dr. Fleishenstein. Now, the Booty Creek Cheek Freak is like a slasher type homage game where, well, it's like a slasher story, but it's kind of like a Slenderman type game where you got to collect like bones or like notes or some shit to kill the Booty Cheek Creek Freak. And like, he's like this fucking leather clad gimp suit ass face murderer. And that was a pretty fun game. It got pretty intense, especially when I was trying to find the 7 different things to get rid of the fucker. But yeah, that's a pretty fun one too, you get to unlock. And the Evil in the House of Dr. Fleishenstein is pretty much a horde mode, kind of like COD Zombies, where you got to try to kill as many zombies as you can. If you're an achievement hunter like me, you're going to get all the achievements on the playthrough of this game. I'm actually only missing one. I'm missing the Evil in the House of Dr. Fleishenstein because I got a little too high and pussed out and didn't like finish the fucking horde or died or some shit, but I still got to get that achievement. But again, if you're an achievement hunter, that's another bonus to this game. You're going to get them all pretty much on a playthrough. And if you, like I said, if you're like a fan of horror movies, if you're a fan of Fulci, Bruno Mattei, like George Romero, you're going to love this game. You're going to love all the callbacks, the references. If you love Resident Evil and like the survival system of managing your bullets and making sure you got enough knives and like calculating everything, you're going to like love it for that. It's just another off-the-wall VHS-soaked nightmare from fucking Puppet Combo and Torture Star Video, and I hope to review more of their games because they are so fucking wild. They played this one game by them. It's kind of off topic. It's like a little like pixelated ski. It's called Ski Freak, I think, and you're just going down hills and you got to evade a Yeti. They'll fuck you up, and then it like turns into like I think like a mystery game with a cop. I don't know, but like there's just a lot of really cool shit these guys have done, and I would love to fucking cover more of it. If this is something that interests you guys, definitely leave a comment below. Fucking check out these guys' games, play them, buy them, check out their Patreon. They've got a lot of games that aren't on Steam on there, which is pretty cool. I used to actually be subscribed for a while, but you got to save your money where you can sometimes. But every time a game drops on Steam by either them or Torture Star, I cart that shit immediately, and I know I'm not disappointed. What would I rate this game? I'd probably rate it about a perfect 10. I think most ratings for this game are about a 9, but I give it a 10 because, even though it wasn't a long game, for what it was perfect. I hadn't played a good zombie game in a long minute. I feel like the genre, while good, is very oversaturated in almost every medium, from comic books to movies to shows to games. So, it was a nice surprise, to, play a zombie game I actually really fucked with. And I find the older I get, the more I get into the Italian shit, whether it be slashers or zombie movies. So, having a game that references, the stuff that comes from there, it was just fucking another plus to me. Yeah, perfect 10 across the board. I highly recommend this game to anyone who's into horror games, zombie games, shooter games, survival games. Check out Puppet Combo, like I said, and Torture Star Video. Not all their games are FPS or like, whatever. There's very, very different games. And I feel like, you know, for whatever you play, you're going to find something you like. If you're a horror fan, you got to check them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.